Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Imperfect Moms Club. Lisa is out sick today, so I am taking over today's episode. And so I decided to do the Imperfect Mom's Guide to School series. And today is the first day, or kicking it off. And I'm going to be doing this series every time I'm doing a solo episode, unless I already have something else scheduled. We'll make this a series of different tips and tricks and things that you can get from me to help your kids succeed in school, or just help you not pull your hair out in frustration. So we're going to talk about things like helping our kids with homework, getting your morning routine down, after school snack ideas, stuff like that. But today I thought, you know what, let's dive into reading. So these past 3 school years have been incredibly difficult for education, to say the least. First of all, for the kids, they're totally out of their routine. They're not getting all of their normal resources, like maybe they have a tutor, maybe they have access to different computers and technologies and games and programs. And with the pandemic, they're like in and out of school, they're remote, they're not remote. They're homeschooling, they're not homeschooling. It's just been all over the place. They're lacking in their social events as well. They're not always getting to be in a classroom with their other peers, with friends. They're not getting to go out to birthday parties like we used to. It's hard. It's just hard. They're not getting to do all of their sporting events maybe, or maybe they're drastically having to change the sporting events. I don't know. It's been a lot. Staying 6 feet apart, wearing your mask, all of that stuff. It's just been a lot for kids. Also for parents. So figuring out how to work from home, like that was crazy. Some of us are still in the middle of that. And then your kids are remote learning at the same time. Getting all of the homework done, all the instability of childcare. I have friends who are running home daycares or running daycare facilities, and it's just nuts. Like one day everyone's in and it's fine, and the next day they're having to shut down for a week, or this teacher is out, so we have to scramble and get a sub, or whatever. Childcare has just been insane these past 3 years. It's been so unreliable. Even though everyone's just doing the best they can, it's just so unreliable. Also, it's exhausting having just to take all of your sick days and personal days off of work. And honestly, half the time, no one's even sick. You're just kind of waiting for a negative test, or you're waiting because you were exposed and you need to wait so many days before coming back. So it's been a lot. It's been difficult. And then teachers. There are regulations that are changing every other day, it seems, and we're trying to keep our classrooms up to code and our procedures up to code. And it's been really exhausting. We've been having to learn how to teach remotely. We're learning new technologies as everyone else is. Like everyone became an expert in Zoom all of a sudden. Everyone learned how to do Zoom. Everyone learned how to do Google Classroom and all of that stuff, how to download worksheets. We're having to work with students who have not been in a physical classroom in the past year, or the past 2 years, or the past 3 years. Like that's really challenging. It's high stress and high anxiety for everyone all around. And it's been a lot, to say the least. So I'm a kindergarten teacher. If you didn't know, hi, I'm Brittany. I teach kindergarten, and I'm here today to give you all just a little boost and help you and your child succeed in reading. So I'm going to be sharing some simple steps that anyone can do. You do not need to have an education degree. And all these things you can do to help your child develop reading skills. I'll also be sharing some apps that I absolutely love and what I look for in children's books, as well as a few favorite TV shows and maybe a few YouTube channels that I can highly recommend to you. First, let's get into a few statistics. I've had to practice saying that word because I get so tongue-tied when I say that. Statistics. And you're like, ew, numbers. At least if you're like me. I know. But we have to look at where we are to see where we're going to go. Okay, so according to the Modern Language Association, in international reading assessments, the US scored 23rd. We're behind China, Estonia, and Poland. 45 states are spending less per student. This was in 2015. They're spending less per student than they did the year before the recession. Several states are targeting language and literature programs as expendable luxuries that taxpayers should not be expected to pay for. Side note, personally, I don't think that we can just throw money at our problems. Having resources and funds is great. It's awesome. I mean, if you want to drop several $100s for me to do a great reading program, I'll take it. But I think our best asset in helping our kids succeed in reading is the family. We need to be educating families and giving them the skills and the tools that they need to teach their own children how to read at home. I'm a professional child caregiver and a teacher, but your child's first teacher is you. You have more weight than you know, and you can impact your child's success rate in education. I'm just a team player, okay? You are the captain of the team. All right, let's jump back into some statistics. From 1992 to 2008, the percentage of US residents who read for pleasure declined by 11%. Family members reading to children declined by 8%. People aged 15 to 44 in the US spent 10 minutes or less per day reading. This is from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The time spent reading outside of work and school depends significantly on the age group that we chose to observe. People aged 75 and older read 4 times as much per day, 44 minutes average, as younger generations. Teenage reading statistics show over 80% of them don't read for pleasure on a daily basis. American Psychological Association, they say teenagers spend way more time on social media than they do reading. Other media saw dips as well. From 2010 to 2018, teenagers spent less time reading and watching TV. This is because teenagers are spending more time on their phones and on their little devices than ever before. So in the olden days, kids would not do their homework. They would not be reading. They would just be sitting there watching the television and scrolling through all the channels. Nowadays, you're not going to find them sitting in front of the TV. You're going to find them sitting in front of another screen, which could be an iPad, a tablet, their phone, some sort of other gaming device. That's where their attention is being. 20% of adults in the US didn't read a book in 2018. And this is from the Pew Research Center. So that's a lot of information to take in. And I don't tell you all of this to make you panic. I just want to give us a starting point, if you will. And like I said, to figure out where we're going and how we're going to set our kids up for success, we need to take stock of where we currently are and what we can do to take steps forward and not be taking steps backwards. So I'm going to send you into a really quick commercial break. And when we come back, I will share some baby steps that anyone can take with their kids towards reading success. So stick around. All right, well, hey, you're still here, and I bet you want to hear some tips and tricks to get your kids to love reading. All right, well, here we go. Number 1, Read to your kids. You knew I was going to say that, didn't you? Well, it's like when you go to the dentist and they remind you to floss and you're like, yeah, okay. And you do it like 3 times and then you never do it again. Okay. Same thing. You got to read to your kids. So just 6 additional minutes of reading per day can significantly improve your kids' reading performance. It's not going to take that much time, okay? Just 10 to 15 minutes a day can make a huge difference. Reading aloud to your kids not only exposes them to almost 2 million new vocabulary words a year, but it also stimulates several areas of their developing brain. Isn't that cool? Ebooks count too. Now, this is very interesting. Studies show that boys who said that reading was difficult for them, they actually enjoyed reading digital books over paperbacks. And these boys described reading as less challenging for them after reading ebooks. Isn't that insane? So not all screens are bad. Not all screen time is bad. Obviously, you have to take it within moderation. You know, too much of a good thing is a bad thing. But ebooks totally count towards reading. Read to your kids before nap time, bedtime, when you need to just take a break from life. Like if your little one is just having one of those days and it's tantrum after tantrum and everything seems to be going wrong, you can hit the reset button, okay, with a book. Snuggle up on the couch, share a few quiet minutes together, reading. Bonus points if you let them pick the book. We'll be talking about what kind of books you'll have available for them in a couple minutes. It can really just help reset everybody, including you. Number 2, books should always be accessible to your kids. So if we're talking about little kids, you're going to want to have board books in the bathroom when you're potty training. Board books are also great because they're easily sanitized, especially for the little ones. When they're little, have board books in the car, okay? Keep a book basket in the living room, and you definitely need to have some books available in their bedroom. Rotate your books if you can. Changing things out with the seasons or the holidays is awesome. I always keep a few of their favorite books out all year round. But I find that switching things up every now and then just like really piques their interest. And if you have a book, like my girls have a book, The Gingerbread Man, oh my word, they could read that book like 30 times a day. And it drives me crazy because I've read it over and over and over. Put that book away for a little bit and bring it out again in a few weeks, bring it out in a few months if it's absolutely driving you nuts to read that book 100 times a day. Okay. They will benefit from a rotating shelf of books. Okay. Trust me, and you will too, especially if you've read One Fish, Two Fish one too many times. Kids magazines and how-to books are also really, really great options. Sign up for subscriptions from like the Highlights magazine or something like the National Geographic for Kids magazine. Whatever your kid is into, there's probably a magazine for it. And how fun is that to look forward to the mailman dropping off their own special magazine once a month or once a quarter, whatever it is. Magazines count towards reading too. If your kids love helping out in the kitchen, get a fun kids cookbook. Make something from that cookbook once a week, okay? And let them help you do it. Point to the measurements, let them help you measure, let them try and go and find the ingredients and point to the letters that are in the book. They're gonna absolutely love that. Get them their own little apron, like just make it a thing, okay? Maybe your kid would love to learn how to do magic tricks. I had a friend whose daughter was just struggling a little bit in reading. She was very intelligent, but just kind of struggled a little bit. And honestly, I thought it was because maybe she just didn't have the right book, but she had an interest in magic tricks. And so we were at the library and she found a book that taught kids how to do magic tricks. So like your basic card tricks and things like that. And she would have to read it herself and teach herself how to do the magic trick. And then she would perform it for her family. Her mom sent me a video of one of her magic tricks that she did. It was so cute. And it just totally piqued her interest because it was something that she was really into, something she could share with her family and friends. So there's an interest out there for everybody. If your family is big into something like hiking, then go get one of those illustrated field guides for like plants or animals and things that you can find in your area. Read it before you go hiking, take it with you hiking, take pictures of things that you find from your field guide. Your kids are gonna just love it. They're gonna love it. Number 3, point out letters every day. This is for your little ones, the toddlers, the preschoolers, the kindergartners. There's letters all around us. There are words all around us. Literacy is everywhere if you just know where to look. So like leave the cereal box out during breakfast and point to the different letters, okay? Little ones they're very egocentric. You know, it's all about me. They love their letter. So for like Clara, her letter is C. For Molly, her letter is M. So anytime I noticed their letter was on the cereal box, I would point it out and say, look, this is your letter. This is you. This is your letter. And they just took ownership of that. And honestly, it's the first letter they ever learned. It wasn't ABC. It was their letter. You can also do this for their last name. And if you do it enough, they're going to start surprising you. And they're going to find their letter in places you didn't even think. Like you're going to just be in the grocery store, just totally focused on getting your shopping done. And they're going to be like, oh, mommy, that's my letter. And they're going to point to it. And it's amazing when it starts happening. Or maybe they'll be watching a commercial and a name brand will pop up and they'll see their letter on the TV screen. Once they take ownership of that letter, it's just going to start that ball rolling. They're going to start being interested in letters and sounds and what they mean and all of that good stuff. My daughter just snuck in, but she snuck right back out. Oh, here's another thing you can do is label everyday items with your kids' names. Label things that they will be interacting with as well. So like start in their bedroom. I feel like everyone does this when they have a new baby. You get those little wooden letters and you put it over where their crib is. Keep doing that. Have their name on their bedroom door. Maybe it's on the wall somewhere. You can get really cute custom made pillows with their name on it, or you can just get a pillow with their letter on it. I have a really cute story once. I won't say which one, but one of my daughters was having a meltdown over something minor. And so I had gotten each of my girls a pillow. One had a letter C on it for Clara. One had a letter M on it for Molly, and they each knew which pillow was theirs even before they could read because they recognized, oh, that's my letter. So one of my girls was throwing a tantrum and they do the Disney princess thing where they throw themselves on the nearest object and they just cry their little hearts out. So she threw herself on her pillow and she was crying. It was a fake cry, but she was crying. And then she stopped for a second and looked at her pillow and made sure it was her pillow, not her sister's pillow. And once she had established that, she went right back to crying in her pillow. So she was fine, but I thought it was really cute that she wanted to make sure this is my pillow that I'm crying on, right? Okay, good. It is. I thought that was funny. You can label things in their bedroom, like the Lego bin. Label it Legos. Some of you moms have a label maker and you love that thing. Pop that out, okay? Make labels. If not, just print something off of your computer and put those labels on their bins. You can label their art bin. You can label the baby doll bin, also the book bin. If you want to get super fancy, you can do fiction and nonfiction. I'm not going to go that far, but having those labels out is great. Also labeling their sippy cups. with their own name. Like, not only will it help them take ownership of that sippy cup and be responsible for it, making sure it doesn't get lost under the couch or it makes its way to the dishwasher when it needs to, but also just seeing their name over and over and over all day long is great exposure. Exposing your kids to letters every day throughout the day is a great way to get them ready to read. You're laying that foundation. So my last thing I'm going to say in this segment, exposure, exposure, exposure. Okay. Think of it like you're trying to get your kid to eat a new vegetable. Okay. They might not love it at first. The first time you put it on their plate, they're going to go, ew, yuck, I don't want that. Gross. That looks weird. It smells funny. I'm not eating it. Okay. You just have to keep offering it. Maybe it's broccoli. Okay. You cook the broccoli a different way and you offer it. Maybe you try serving it with a different sauce. Maybe you offer the broccoli raw and see if that works. Okay. You take them to the store. You let them pick out the vegetable for dinner tonight. That's the way you need to think about books. You need to think about reading is the same way you think about broccoli with your kids. All right. It's just offering it in different ways and offering it again and again and again. And eventually they will try it and they might like it. All right. Well, I'm going to send you into one last ad break before sharing some of my favorite tools for reading success. So stick around because I'm going to be right back. Hey, you made it to the last segment. Okay, before I dive in to my recommended reading resources, I want to ask you a quick favor. So if you don't mind, take a screenshot of the podcast right now. I'll smile. This is if you're watching the YouTube video. If not, it doesn't mean anything, but geez. Okay, take a screenshot right now and upload it to your social media. Share it to your Instagram, to your Facebook, wherever it is that you hang out online. Share it and tag us and share it with your friends. Share it with your family. That would just be amazing. If you find Lisa and I relatable, or if you've gotten any kind of helpful advice from us from the show, it would really mean a lot to us if you would just share the podcast with your friends and your family. Bonus level is achieved if you leave us a review online. Okay. We would just be super appreciative if you would help us raise our voices here and grow our imperfect moms community. So if you would do that, that would be amazing. All right, well, let's keep going here. I'm going to talk about books, where you get them, which ones you should get. First of all, the library. Can I just tell you, I think librarians are some of the loneliest people because no one talks to them. Libraries are like, quote unquote, not cool anymore. Let's make libraries cool again. All right. Some of those librarians are the coolest people I know. Go in there and you can ask them to help you find a book for your kids or for you. They have some of the best recommendations ever. They have these amazing computer catalog things, and you can type in any interest and they will find the perfect book for you. And I have found that my local librarians are so friendly. I think it's because everyone's so quiet in the library and we're all whispering and we're trying to be really, really quiet, not break any of the rules and not get kicked out, that when you actually go up to the librarian and you ask for their opinion and you ask for their help, they want to be your best friend. Okay, so go show your librarian some love and check them out. Thrift stores are my favorite place to get books. I always go through the book section at the thrift store. You can find some real gems at the thrift store. This is also yard sales and things like that. So some of the books to look out for are anything from Scholastic is good. If you find a book and it has like the silver medal on it called the Caldecott Medal, that's a great book. That means it won an award for best art. Those are really, really good books. Classics like If You Give a Mouse a Cookie, that series, there's a whole series. If You Give a Mouse a Cookie, If You Give a Moose a Muffin, If You Give a Pig a Pancake, there's a whole series of those by Laura Numeroff. Anything like that, go ahead and grab those. Eric Carle is a really great series. Jan Brett, she's fantastic. So she retells classic folk stories for children, but her artwork is just so good. It's some of the most beautiful artwork you will ever see. There is just so much detail. You can like pore over her pages forever. There's so much to find in those books, so many little like nuggets and Easter eggs in her book. You got to check her out. She's amazing. So those are books I always pick up if I find those. Amazon is another great place for books, but here's the thing. I will not buy a book brand new if I can help it. It's very rare I will buy a book brand new because first of all, I'm buying tons of books all year round because I am a teacher, I'm an educator, I need a lot of books. So I'm trying to stretch my budget as much as possible. Also, I just love secondhand things. I love giving things a second chance of life. And I really like old books that have like a lot of history in them. I love it when I get a book and it has a note in there from grandma who got so-and-so this book at their kindergarten graduation or whatever. I find those things really sweet and I like to have those. So I'll go on Amazon, and when you're looking for a book on Amazon, you can scroll down just a little bit. And if you look carefully, sometimes it'll have a used book option. So like maybe the new book is $14.99, but if you scroll just a little bit, you can see also available for $5.99 or something like that. And Amazon will work with used book websites, and you can often get the book secondhand. Sometimes you do have to pay for shipping, so you have to take that into account if it's actually going to be worth it. Sometimes the book is like 99 cents and shipping is like $3.99, and it's totally worth it. I've had pretty good success buying used books online. There's only been once that I got a book and I really wasn't pleased with the condition that it came to me in, but the majority of the time I have really great success buying used books online. A couple of books that I absolutely love. I love these books. I probably have talked about them before on the show. I don't remember, but they're fantastic. It's a book called What Should Danny Do? And there's another one, What Should Darla Do? These are a really great set of books. I think there's a second one in the What Should Danny Do series, but I cannot remember it off the top of my head. These are really great books. They're choose your own adventure books. And there's like 6 or 8 endings, maybe even more, in the book, depending on what your child picks. So you will read the story and you'll come to a spot where your child has to make a decision as to what Darla is going to do or what Danny is going to do. What kind of choice are they going to make? And depending on what choice your child makes, you turn to that page and you keep reading the story and you flip through the pages and it'll direct you through it. It's very user friendly and you'll get a different ending depending on what options your child chose. And I love these books so much. I buy these for my kindergartners' graduation every year. I will pay full price. I don't care. It is totally worth it to me. They're fantastic books. You got to check them out. Also, books that are clearly just like screenshots from movies, like big movies or really popular TV shows. They're okay, but honestly, they are not the bread and butter of my bookshelf. Like if you have a kid who just despises books like with their entire being, but they love, I don't know, Transformers or My Little Pony, whatever. I'm just throwing things out there. And you happen to find a book that's very obviously just taken from a show and they just like screenshotted it and slapped a few words on there. If that gets them into reading, then fine. But honestly, those are not the books that I line my bookshelf with. I might buy one or two if it really gets the kids into reading, but most of the time I find that the story is kind of lacking, especially if they try and take like a full movie and condense it down to 10 pages. It's just not that great. The story is just kind of blah. I would rather read a book that's not based on a movie. You'll get better quality storytelling, better quality vocabulary. I cannot talk today. Vocabulary words to expose your kids to. And honestly, I think that these books are they're just lazy. They're like poorly written. They're just lazy. They never really tried. And it's just kind of a cash grab from the company. I don't like these books so much. Now, I have a couple of books that are those like early reader books that have characters in them from movies and popular TV shows, but the story is original to the book. It's not just a quick retelling of the movie. It's like this little character is having a birthday party, or this little character is making a new friend today. And it's a completely original story just with a known character. Those are fine. It's the books where they just like basically just screenshotted the movie. I just find them very lazy and I don't like them. Do not recommend. Okay, apps that I love to reinforce literacy. Okay, so the first two are made by the same company, but I love them so much. I've talked about them before, but they're so good. In fact, I just bought one for my daughter. I bought the full version. Normally, I only like to buy, no, I don't like to buy. I just like the free apps because I'm cheap, but this company is so good. I was like, yes, this is worth it. I'm totally buying this app. This is the Endless Alphabet by Originator Incorporated. They have Endless Alphabet. They have Endless Reader. That's the one I just bought for my daughter and she loves it. They have Endless Numbers. They have Endless Wordplay. It's really, really good. As far as I'm aware, it's available for Apple and Android. I've been using these apps since before I had kids and I keep coming back to them. I really, really enjoy them. There's also Vooks, Vooks. Now, I haven't used this one personally, but I have a lot of friends and educator friends who love this website and this app. I'm pretty sure you can also put it on your smart TV and it will read books to your kids. And it's great if they can see the illustrations and see the words too. I absolutely love that. Audible is also really great. You like say you're in the car for a while or just something for your kids to listen to as they're falling asleep. There are a ton of children's books available on Audible for free with your basic subscription. My daughter listened to Thumbelina like 20 times already. She loves that. We've done Peter Pan. There's a lot of classic books that you can get for free on Audible. All right, number 3, what are some toys that you can get to help your child read? Well, those little wooden alphabet puzzles, those are great. Now there's this one puzzle from Walmart. It's like $5. It's really inexpensive. And it's just wooden letters, A, B, C, all the way through Z. And I love this because they're just like little blocks, and say like they aren't really ready for like the actual puzzle part, you can just take the ABC letters and just play with those. They're like thick and they just like feel good in your hand and they're colorful. I love those. So alphabet puzzles are fantastic, especially when the alphabet shape is actually like the shape of the letter. The puzzle piece is the shape of the letter. Like it's not just a square, it's actually like an A, like it looks like an A and you pick it up and it feels like the shape of the letter A. Also, speaking of wooden blocks, those classic ABC blocks, You can find these at thrift stores. You can find them in your grandma's basement. You can find them everywhere. You don't have to get them brand new. Vintage is perfectly fine. Those ABC blocks are a great way to start some literacy with your kids. ABC foam bath toys, those are fun because if you get them a little bit wet, they stick to the wall in the bathroom, like where the bathtub is, the like shower area, they stick. And you can have them spell their name or just do ABC or whatever, just starting to get familiar with the shape of the letter. And they're very inexpensive as well, which I like. If you want to get a little bit pricier and you want to support some small business, Etsy is a great place to find personalized name puzzles. You can get your child's name put in a puzzle and you can get just about any color or theme imaginable. And you can get this for their birthday. You can get it for a holiday. You can get it for graduation, whatever, or just get it for fun. And they can have their own name as a puzzle. Like how cool is that? It makes a really nice keepsake too. You can put it up on a shelf for display also. I love that idea. Okay, this last thing, it's not a toy, but I guess it can kind of be a toy if you play with your food. Anytime I see snacks, kids snacks with ABCs on them, I buy it. Okay, Sesame Street, I don't know if it's new, but they have a cereal that I just discovered this past Christmas. And the cereal is in ABC shapes. I think it's just like your basic like corn puff cereal, but they're in ABC shapes. So I bought that. Sometimes the Cheez-Its will have ABCs on their crackers. I always buy those. And I discovered, I think it was this past year, Walmart has these little shortbread cookies. I think they're in like a little green bag, or maybe it's a blue bag. I can't remember, but they're like already like packaged for like school lunches and they have ABCs printed on them. I always buy those too for my kids. I throw them in their lunchbox. It's all about exposure. You know, the more they see the letters, the more they're going to get familiar with it, the faster they're going to recognize them and they're going to learn what they mean. All right, let's talk about some TV shows. Well, so all of the shows I found all happen to be from PBS. I wasn't just searching for PBS shows. It's just what they all happen to be from. So I'm not biased. It's just what happened. The first one is Sesame Street. We all grew up with Sesame Street. And yes, they teach kids letters and it's really cute. And I love a Muppet. I love the Muppets. They're just so fun. And Cookie Monster is my favorite. Elmo kind of creeps me out a little bit, not gonna lie, but I love the Muppets. They're just so classic. And the fact that the show is still ongoing is just so cool to me. So Sesame Street from PBS, that's a great show for them. This next show is also from PBS. It kind of is like nails on a chalkboard for me, but I know it's good for my kids and they really enjoy it. So this is one of those shows I'll like turn on and then like leave the room because I just can't stand it. Super Why. I don't know why. I can't. It just bothers me. Like the way like Coco Melon bothers some moms, or Baby Shark has just been sung too many times. Super Why, just like, I just can't, but my kids love it. And I have watched it and I'm like, okay, this is actually good. So they can watch it. They're enjoying it. I'm going to go in my room and turn on a podcast. There's Super Why on PBS. Between the Lions on PBS. I don't know if they're still making this show. I looked up it online and people were still recommending it. So I'm assuming you can find it somewhere, but Between the Lions was so good. It's got some puppets in there. If I remember, there might be some like actual people running around and being actors too, but talk about like teaching kids sounds and how to sound out words. Like Between the Lions was the bomb. They were so good. All right, now let's talk about some YouTubers, something a little more accessible if you don't have different streaming services. Pretty much everyone has access to YouTube. So if you're looking for YouTubers to read stories to your kids, here are a few things that you should look for. So one, they should have clear sound with an emphasis on the reading. you don't really need a bunch of background music or like sound effects, just a clear voice reading the story, like chef's kiss. That's a good YouTube channel. Number 2, they should show the cover of each book. Okay. You want them to see what we're doing. We're looking at a book. This is a physical book. In fact, you can go out and get a book too. Okay. This is what we're trying to teach kids is books are cool. Books are good. So showing the actual cover of the book. They should mention the title of the book, the author, the illustrator. You know, we need to give credit where credit is due. And it's really cool for kids to see like, hey, maybe one day I can grow up and I can write stories, or I can be an illustrator. Okay. And then just getting that in their heads, or they can be like, I really liked that book by Jan Brett. So the next time they see that, they're like, oh, I know that author. I know that illustrator. I like that. I'm going to pick this book up. Okay. Also demonstrating the proper concepts of print. So like they're showing a shot of the actual book as they're reading it. Maybe they're even pointing to the words as they're reading the words, and then they're turning the pages from left to right. That's super awesome. Not every single YouTuber who reads will do that, but if they do, give them a thumbs up. Tell them they're doing a great job, because that's awesome. So a few of the YouTube channels that I really enjoy are Storytime Family. I discovered them during lockdown, the first year of lockdown. Storytime Family. She's so quiet and calming. I really enjoy her, and she picks really good books. I think she maybe has a new video once a week or so, but as of right now, she has a whole arsenal of books for you to pick from. I really enjoy her. Kid Time Story Time is another really good one. If I remember correctly, she's the one who has a couple of puppets that she brings out during the beginning and the ending of her little episodes that she does. And she also does some voices. And the last one is Story Time at Ani's house. She's really fun too. She does voices. Some of her voices kind of annoy my husband a little bit, but if it keeps my kids entertained, it's kind of worth it. So she's really fun. And she reads a lot of books. She's got a ton of choices for you. Well, okay. So unfortunately, my recording time is up and I have to go upstairs and be mom now. But let me leave you with this quote from Albert Einstein himself. If you want your children to be intelligent, read them fairy tales. If you want them to be more intelligent, read them more fairy tales. I hope this episode was helpful for you. If it was, please share it with a friend. I would absolutely appreciate that. That would mean the world to me. And I will see you next time. Bye.